And good morning and thanks for tuning in. Now, this is FCT Brief and we are live from our Abuja studio. Now, the federal government is taking strategic steps to close the growing workforce skill gap across the country. And this move, according to officials, is aimed at equipping Nigerians with the right technical and professional competencies to meet the demands of the evolving global economy. Now, the mismatch between the skills required by industries and those possessed by job seekers has long posed a challenge to Nigerians' labor markets. Experts say this deficit has slowed economic growth, reduced productivity, and left millions of young graduates unemployable despite their educational qualifications. In response, the federal government has unveiled a comprehensive workforce development strategy. The initiative will focus on digital literacy, vocational training, and technical education to prepare workers for modern industries.
The program is expected to leverage partnership with international organizations, technology companies, and local industries to ensure its sustainability. With a rapidly changing global workforce, the federal government's plan is being seen as a timely intervention to address a long-standing challenge. Analysts believe that if effectively implemented, this initiative could significantly reduce unemployment and position Nigeria as a competitive player in the global economy. For more on this step taken by the federal government, let's speak with the Special Assistant to the President on Capacity Development, Sadiq Rabiu, and he joins us live in our studio this morning. Good morning to you, Mr. Rabiu. And also joining us is the CEO and MD of Ingrid Academy, Khadijat Abdulkadir. Good morning to you, Your Royal Majesty. Well, let's begin like this. The Jobberman report says 6 in every 10 Nigerian graduates don't have the right skill for the jobs available. That's a big issue, but realistically, how soon can we see a change? I would like to begin with you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sadiq Rabiu. It is a pleasure to be here to speak about how the federal government is addressing one of Nigeria's most urgent challenges, which is closing the workforce skills gap and preparing our people, especially the youth, for the future of work. First of all, we have to give credit to the President for actually giving us the opportunity to actually contribute our own little quota. And I would like to briefly talk about my office and its mandate as well. So the Office of the Special Assistant to the President on Capacity Development was established in 2024 as a strategic delivery unit under the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. Our vision is to build a resilient, skilled, and inclusive society where every Nigerian has access to the tools and opportunities to strive. And our work supports some of the presidential priorities directly, like the Priority 1, which is reforming the economy for inclusive growth, and Priority 6, which is investing in education, social services, and Priority 7, which is accelerating industrialization and innovation. And we have a flagship program that was launched in January under the Office of the Special Assistant to the President on Capacity Development, which is called the Capacity Development Training Initiative Nigeria, which the federal government is addressing the skills and employment gap among Nigerians. Our work is structured around 3 core pillars, which I'll list them. Number 1 is youth skills development, which is our topic for today, I guess, where we try to provide Nigerians with future-ready, employable, and entrepreneurial skills. Number 2 is institutional strengthening, where we enhance public sector capacity for citizen-centered service delivery. And number 3 is public sector reform, where we drive change through training, innovation, and digital transformation. And what we've done so far, we first have to look at the demographic size of the demographic dividend of Nigeria, which about 70% of our population are under the age of 30, and 60% of the population are between the age of 18 and 35, which are the youth. And the core of our work is focused on youth skills development. With this youth bulge, unemployment has become a huge concern. It's almost like a pandemic if not addressed urgently. And so the Office of the Special Assistant to the President has initiated several CDTIN initiatives, as I mentioned, the Capacity Development Training Initiative. Like, for example, we launched in January in Kano with the technical training on ICT, agriculture, solar installation, and content creation, which we had like a 5-day training program where everybody gets of about 1,000 people, where everybody gets the basic of entrepreneurial skills, business development and entrepreneurship, just so you understand what business is all about. And then you get a chance to select from 4 other skills categories: ICT, agriculture, solar installation, and content creation, which is where the world is actually moving now, digitization. And secondly, we had done a biomedical training program in Abuja as well earlier this year, where we trained 1,000 youth biomedical engineers to practically operate heavy medical equipment, because there's a skills gap as well in the health sector as well, where we train them to operate the likes of ultrasound machine, dialysis machine, and get them job placement at teaching hospitals.
Okay, let me come in here.
Yeah.
We've listened to all that you set out to achieve, and I've also read some of the initiative of Mr. President in helping to skill up the population and get our people employable.
Yeah.
But my challenge also is, we look at our universities, our educational institutions. Every year, thousands are graduate from these institutions, and a lot of times people say they are unemployable. But these are people that we have invested so much in. So what is the problem? What arrangement is your office putting in place with the educational institution, I mean the Ministry of Education, to probably it's an issue with the curriculum we have, that we need to look into the curriculum and get them trained right from school?
First of all, this is not a one-man job or one ministry job. I believe all hands needs to be on deck, from the private sector to the development partners and the relevant government institutions as well. So under our youth skills development pillar, we focus on empowering youth around broad skills categories, including entrepreneurial and business skills, employability skills, technical and vocational skills, creative and cultural skills, then digital and technology skills. Which one of our partnerships is with the Ingrid Academy currently, where we plan to train, it's already ongoing, we're training 1 million youth over the next 5 years in digital and technology skills, which it was just mostly about training, then get them a job placement, but now we're advancing it to actually getting them global certifications. Because we've just gotten in partnership with a global certification body called ISACA, which one of our implementing partners, Ingrid, will talk about more. So we are actually trying to see how we can bring in the universities, which we plan to go for university tours, see how we can actually train them, give them opportunities to jobs, actually orient them about what employability is really all about. Not just about getting out of school and going to apply for jobs, and because there's no more jobs out there like that. There's already too much pressure on the government and our own industries as well. So we just have to find a way to see how we can support the youth to become self-reliant, and that way it's going to support and contribute to the economy.
All right, we'll still discuss more on this, but that'll be right after this short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll still have more for you on the program. Stay with us, we'll be right back. We're glad to have you back. You're still watching FCT Brief. I'm still discussing addressing skill deficiencies in the workforce. Well, Madam Khadijat Abdulkadir, I'd like to come to you. Do you think that the real issue is that in the schools, they are not really teaching what the workforce is actually looking for? Do you think that is where the missing link is in this context?
Well, so just to say that it's a very complex challenge that we are facing, and the reality is that there are many factors to why we are having a lot of skill gaps. And I wouldn't entirely blame the school, but I would say that technology moves rapidly. I mean, every single day you wake up, there is a new skill. There is something to learn. AI just came in now, and we're talking about different versions, of learning systems within just AI alone. And I think that the rapidness of these changes is where the skill gap happens to come from. Now, our educational system has not changed in a very long time. So, and to be quite fair to the educational system as well, that level of rapid change cannot happen across board every 4 years. It's institutional. So even if they were to say that they're going to start creating a new syllabus or a new curriculum every single time that a new particular skill comes up, I don't think that would be sustainable either, which is why organizations like Ingrid Academy actually comes to play. In the private sector, our job is, of course, to profit from problems by solving those problems. One of the things that Ingrid does very well is train for placement. We focus specifically on addressing the skill gap, but not just about the skill gap, but really the employment gap. Because the reality is that we have over 288 clients, which we support within the private sector staffing. Now, our customers are struggling to find staff. So you hear that there's no jobs, but then you hear there's no talent. I can tell you that from an employer's perspective, I would say that there's no talent, right? Because for every one single job that I post out, I get 2,000 Nigerians, for example, applying, but they're not a right fit, right? There are some basic things that I think we need to actually address, and part of those things are what I applaud the government, you know, the SA's office, the Office of the Minister of Communication through his 3MTT program, and a lot of other people within the sector that are trying to address the basic skill gap. Because, you know, you have to get people from 0 to 1, and then we as organizations can get them from 1 to 2. My school, for example, focuses on training advanced skills for placement because we're more placement focused. I'm trying to train you for employment. I'm not necessarily interested in just training you to train you because I can only profit from employable talents. And so with Ingrid, we actually set out to give 4,000 scholarships to young people over the last 3 years and have been giving Nigerian young people 4,000 scholarships every year. Now, out of that 4,000 scholarships that we give out, we focus on data science, cybersecurity, AI, machine learning, some software engineering, and other UI UX design, and some skills that are relevant. But even within that ecosystem where we are operating, things are changing every time. For example, we started out teaching DevOps, right? Because DevOps was important. But later on, we found out that a lot of our customers are asking for DevSecOps, which is like a different variation of DevOps. What happens to all the people that have been trained in DevOps? Well, they have to upskill. So the aggressiveness that goes with upskilling, I don't believe can be addressed within the traditional educational institution. I think that is completely something that would have to be firmly sitting outside and allowed by organizations like ours to really address. Okay,
I quite agree with you that traditional institutions may not be able to rapidly change with the times, but every now and then we hear National Assembly government establish private institutions. Why is it difficult? Because if we don't follow through with what Mr. President's dream is to get people skilled up, we may just be working as government institutions working at cross purpose. And when public institutions are working at cross purpose, it will be difficult to achieve the set objective. Now, rather than setting up private universities and you keep opening universities, why is it difficult for government to put it together and begin to have specialized institutions?
Absolutely.
So that, like you said, it was initially this technology and there was a change and we need to rapidly change. So why should it be that orthodox that it is difficult to change with the times?
I think part of the problems that, with all due respect to our leaders, part of the problems is just really not understanding how best to utilize the private sector. I think that we need to come to a point where we start to think about how can we do this work? Is it our work to do, or is it our work to partner with people to do? I think one of the good things about our president is how many young people he has managed to bring into his cabinet and the rest, and that has actually gone a long way. As you can see, like young people, like the minister, like the SA, and understanding what does private sector partnership really do to help us scale some of our efforts. You can't start a bunch of private schools. I don't think that's even sound, right? I think the reality is that there are lots of specialized training organizations that do this work and do it very well. And for me, part of the reason why it's so important to partner with the government. For example, we work quite a lot with Lagos State government in Lagos because that's where our school is located in Nigeria. And from day one, when we established Ingrid, many people think it's a government school, but it's not. It's just a very well-developed relationship between the government and the private sector, where we understand their value. For us is to ensure that the word gets out to the right people so that they can benefit from what we deliver within our program. Our program is not even government funded. We finance our programs all ourselves because for us it's a social responsibility, and it is in fact sound business to be socially responsible as a private sector company. Why? Because if we can improve the workforce, it's better for us and it's better for the customers that we serve. I think that more of our government relationships should be around how can we best utilize the private sector to help us go forward.
All right, Mr. Rabiu, it's one thing to say, you know, to equip these students with skills. Let's come down to reality. A lot of Nigerian youths are actually skilled, especially in AI and modern technology. But what comes to play, I would say, in terms of the workforce is preferential treatment. You see a son of a governor just make a call and, you know, the child gets, well, you know, the son of the common man cannot even get, you know, an actual job and he's skilled. So how do you address this gap, you know, between, you know, preferential treatment and people that actually have this skill?
In addressing the skills gap sustainably, we're moving beyond ad hoc training to systemic solutions. For instance, we're soon launching a national solar training initiative to provide training for young Nigerians to equip them with practical skills and provide outstanding trainees with job placements. This will be rolled out soon, and we're currently in conversation with the United Nations, with the United Nations Institute for Training and Research in Geneva, with the Sustainable Energy for All in Vienna. And on the digital and technology skill components, that's why we are always trying to get a private sector that is already established and doing good in the game, like the likes of Ingrid. Currently on the digital and technology skill component, we have a strategic partnership with ISACA, the certification body, and the Ingrid Academy to deliver training and certification to 1 million youth over a period of 5 years. I'm a youth as well, and I've never really worked all my life, but I've always had one thing going on or the other, because I get trained and I try to implement it and I work with partners. So I think we just have to work together more as a nation, as a youth, and we just need all hands on deck, because it's really a pandemic. Because if you look at the out-of-school children, we have about 10 million, as UNICEF says. And if we don't address it properly, it's going to keep growing and growing, because Nigeria is a very young population. And it is actually very, very risky for things to keep going on like this. But I can assure you the government has plans to work on it, and we are trying to work significantly with each other to see how we can get this done.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
Can I also say, we've kind of gone past the whole, like, I'm a governor's son. I know a lot of people, but today we need qualified people to work. So nobody can really call and say, just hire this person anymore. Even all these governor's sons whom you're speaking about, today they understand the need to be qualified, and a lot of them are qualified, getting more and more qualified. And I think technology has really, really leveled out the ecosystem, such that wherever you are in the world, as long as you're competent, you have a chance. And one of the things that we do at Ingrid, again, is democratizing the access for you to get employment.
Okay, you're speaking about the access to get this training. Help us understand, because a lot of youth listening to the program now will say, okay, how do I qualify for this? You said it has leverage, it has a leverage between whether you are the son of a privileged person and a commoner.
Absolutely.
How do they get qualified to be trained?
So there are two ways. One, if you already have some kind of basic technology background, you can actually apply for our scholarship program, which allows you full funding. If you pass the test, we have a competence test on our website, www.ingridacademy.com, under the scholarship program. Now, the scholarship we give to 4,000 people every year through the Office of the Special Advisor. We plan to actually scale to 1 million over the next 5 years. So if you don't have money and you need support, like I said, to democratize the opportunity for you, you can actually access our scholarship program, and you are able to get trained for just 50,000 naira, vis-a-vis paying 1,500 euros to get qualified, to get trained. If you don't need a scholarship, you can take the program directly, no passing of any exam required. What is new today is the fact that even though we have trained almost 10,500 people in the last 3 years, we've not seen a high employment rate beyond 37% so far. And one of the reasons for that was because a lot of the people who we are supplying this talents were looking for professional certifications. And unfortunately, professional certifications are very expensive, actually. You're looking at anything from $800 all the way up, you know, when you really want to get professionally certified. So it's not the easiest to get. And it's not your usual, you know, suspects. So you have to think, okay, do I have the money? So even if I got a free scholarship, where am I going to get the money to pay $1,000 to get a certification? So in addressing this particular challenge, we went far enough to partner with ISACA. ISACA is an internationally certified body which is in the business of just basically certifying people. So you have 190 countries available to you where the certification is recognized and can be used for employment purposes. This is our way of saying, okay, we can make you competitive. Now, ISACA is usually around 1,000 euros just to get, you know, one of the certifications, and we were able to get it all the way down to 70% off. So for pretty much as low as $250 today, all the young people who are trained can get certified professionally and have a higher chance of competing for better jobs in different regions. Again, part of the reason why we're here is to ensure that everybody gets access to this and are able to benefit.
Sorry for clarity.
Okay,
for clarity.
Yes.
Is this an Ingrid idea or an idea of the office of the SSA?
So
because Ingrid is a private
absolutely,
sector.
Absolutely.
Now, the office of the SSA, because of the issue of skilling up, is it an idea of that office, or what's the level of that?
This is about Ingrid being socially responsible. Like I said, for me, I lived my whole life abroad, and coming back home, it matters that I feel confident about the young people in Nigeria. So when I started my businesses, it wasn't really about just doing business. It was about doing business sustainably, socially responsible, and also being civically engaged and in ensuring that work gets done. I'm very pro-government, like I said, when it comes to just partnering to execute, right? And this is why we are in a relationship with the government. So while we're not government funded in any of our activities, actually, Ingrid is purely investment funded. I just have green investors who are also passionate about the work and are interested in getting it done.
I'm a bit curious, because you've been speaking about AI and modern technology and professional qualification, but the youths shouldn't just be involved in all this white collar.
Absolutely.
We have the farming there, we have the artisans.
Absolutely.
What's being done to involve this population into that workforce?
So we have one program, just one, and then I'll let the SA speak about the rest, because that's more for him to explain. We have one program that deals with vocational skills. I actually focus on very high employability skills, and that's just what Ingrid does. And we focus on engineering in a broad context. For example, we have an elevator and installation program, which is very popular, and there we teach how to basically maintain elevators and install them. Why? Because I think that's vocational, but that's also very, very, very high skill. So where are jobs where there's a high demand? That's where I really focus my work on addressing. And then how can we partner with the government to ensure that people get access to this? so that, you know, they don't think that they can't, right? The government is a unifying voice. So often of the time, they're more able to disseminate information across. But I think that within the Special Advisor's Office, they handle other things as well.
Will you let us into those other things?
Yeah, I mean, as recent as this week in Kano, we had like 100 primary and secondary school students training in basic computer skills. Okay. And the best students actually among the 150 students that were trained got laptops just so they could be able to get things forward even when they're out of school. And then we had to renovate an ICT lab as well, which they call like computer class in a basic school in Kano. Mm-hmm. And we put some desktops for them. We brought in some professionals just so they get the really basic skills. So that is a grassroots program as well. And another initiative that we've done or that we're still doing is innovative farming practices to train all these local women or traditional women or even widows in the north, mostly in the grassroots, to learn how to farm from their own backyard. Mm. Like, for instance, we have this initiative where we have tires and like waters dispenser bottle up there where you're able to plant seeds and actually water it from the top, just like a local irrigation model. Yeah. So we have a lot of grassroots programs that we're currently running. Because of time, I would have taken you through them, and we're doing more for the grassroots as well, which is where we need it the most.
So how about the women, if I may ask? Because, you know, mostly the women are sometimes being, you know, at the back of some of these plans. Yeah. Is there any plan for the women, aside the youths, in terms of, say, skills like fashion designing, makeup, and all those little skills that we might ignore, but, you know, they are actually contributing to the GDP?
I have a whole program completely separately from this conversation, which is targeted to the woman. It's called Digital African Woman. Okay. There's no time to like really address that.
Okay, we have like 1 minute, so you can.
Digital African Woman is a 10-year-old Belgian organization which I founded 10 years ago, which we've brought now to Nigeria. So we just launched recently, and our goal entirely is actually training up entrepreneurs. So we're started in Katsina. Here in Abuja, we're dealing with the community of Kwali. We're also doing some work with like Ogun State. So really we're spreading across, and we're also partnering with the European Union to support them in agriculture. Okay,
let me quickly just ask you this before time. There's a particular subsector now, the hospitality subsector. You're thinking about how to skill up people in that sector, so that not just anyhow you just get jobs just because I want to survive, but to actually get the requisite skill to function in that sector.
Yeah, actually we're in partnership with the Restaurant Cafe Bar Association in Lagos State, which have actually had meetings with most of the restaurant owners in Lagos, in Shiro sometimes last month. And the plan is to take as many people that just know how to do basic cooking, that just basic hospitality skill, to actually learn how to do a more standard hospitality, get a more standard hospitality skill. So we're currently actually working on that, and we actually had a meeting with the DJ of the National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism just yesterday to see how we can address those issues as well and do more in that sector. It's actually part of our plan.
All right. We definitely look forward to more that's coming from this partnership between you, the Office of the SA on Skill Development, and also from Ingrid. We'll definitely keep our eye on that, and hopefully we have you back in the studio to give us more development.
Very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time with us on the program.